Hi everyone. Today I want to talk to you about the Perfect Partners promotion, which is going on September 2022. We're going to use this Apple Harvest stamp set, which you know I love if you've seen some other things on my channel or my blog or my Facebook page or Instagram. I used this Apple Harvest stamp set recently on a lot of cards with different techniques, watercolor and colored pencil and chalk, all kinds of things, and I really like it. And I was so happy to see it part of the Perfect Pairs promotion. And this promotion is going on right now, September, and what it is that they have some select stamp sets from the catalogs, some from the annual catalog, some from the mini July to December catalog, and these stamp sets did not originally have dies. They were just kind of standalone stamp sets. But just for this month, they're releasing selected dies for these. There's about 6 sets maybe, and I had a few of them, so I did purchase the dies to go along with the ones that I had. And I have to say, they're really bringing a lot to the table. I didn't think that I needed them until, you know, because I really enjoyed using the Apple Harvest stamp set without the dies. However, these dies are really quite great, and there's so much more than just the stamps. So I wanted to show them to you while you could still get them. So I really enjoy that you can cut out the stamps. So you've got those, and they even give you 2 of the flower because you know you're going to want more than one. So you can do that. But look at all the extras. There's a label. There are like 9 leaves, and 4 flowers with flower centers, and then a little branch. So, oh, and I like this little guy too. So it's really fun. I actually have one of the cards that I made a few weeks ago. Was this one, and it just uses the stamps because this is before I had the dies. So I kind of recreated it using the dies, and this time I popped out the stamped image, and then I used the scallop die, although you can barely see it on this particular card. I used the scallop die here on the side, and it's really a fun little die set. So I really like it, and I'm going to do another card that just uses the dies and not the stamps. I kind of am showing you stamped, and I'm showing you just dies. I think we're just using one of the sentiments, but I'm going to do all my images with some watercolor techniques using the dies. So that's what we're going to do, but I wanted to show you some of the Perfect Pairs items because they're all like this. They're all fabulous die sets that have more than just the images. And another one that I owned was the This Little Piggy stamp set, and he has some really fun dies. You've got, again, all of the images get popped out, but in addition to that, you've got some added things, like he's got a little bandana, you've got a cute little wagon, a really fun little kind of label maker, some grass, a pennant maker, bows, leaves, flowers. This is like confetti, so you can add some actual pieces of confetti, and it's just really cute. It just adds so much, and I thought it was really adorable, so I had to add that. This is for the little butterfly. So anyway, really cute addition. And so if you have the little piggy, and there's been several little piggies over the years, so you can kind of add to your piggy collection if you already have some of the older ones. But if you have this birthday piggy, or even if you don't have it, grab the dies while you can, or buy the bundle if you don't already have the stamp set. So if you already have the stamp set, you can buy just the dies. But if you don't, you can buy them together and get 10% off the bundle. And this again is just in September. Another one that they added dies to was Yeti to Party. Now I had this one already too because I thought it was super cute. I love that there's like stuff that you can add to his arm, and I just thought it was fun. It's just a fun little Christmas set, and I thought it was so cute. And here are the dies that they added, and again they are adding some really fun additional things, such as what this does. This is a funny one. It cuts out his arm. All it does is it adds this little cut, so that, I mean, it doesn't cut out his arm, it just adds a slit. And then that way you can take the hot chocolate and actually tuck it, or you can take one of the gifts and tuck it in his arm so he's actually cradling it and carrying it, which I think is super cute. So you've got this, you've got some little mountains with the mountaintop snow, and just, you know, really fun. I thought it was adorable. So anyway, this one is really cute, and a little window here so you can actually have him peeking out of some little, I don't know, maybe a window or a ice cave, who knows. He's a cute little guy. I really liked the Yeti to party. And then the only other one I had is this one, Trimming the Tree. And again, this is one of those where I already owned it, so I was super happy to see the dies. But this one is in the annual catalog, and there were no dies. But look how much it adds to the whole experience. You've got some extra trees. You've got an outline, and then this one kind of goes in and makes it into kind of a 3D tree because you can kind of poke out some of these branches and give them some dimension, which is really fun. You've got a cute little scallop. You've got ornaments. You can do those in some gold foil. Imagine some pretty red bows. I like that they're attached, so you've got one pass through a scrap of red paper, but then, you know, you've got 3 bows times 2, so 6 bows. And you've got ornaments that cut out the actual stamped ornaments or some detail ornaments that are fun with some foil. Couple labels. This would be a nice tree skirt, you know, so really cute, well thought out dies. I really like all of them. I don't know if this can be a rug or it can be something that you put your tree onto, something to kind of stand on the tree. It looks like a little rug, but you can make it a basket or something like that too. So anyway, really cute. The dies are really well thought out. There's a couple others that I didn't get because I didn't have the stamps for those. There's a floral one, and I don't know what the other one was. And I'm thinking about it. I've got till the end of September to think about that one. But anyway, we're going to start off with the Apple Harvest because it is my favorite. I've been using it a lot, and I want to make a card with, now I want to make a card using the dies. So I'm going to use these flower dies. And all the leaves, look at them all. So many. And this twig. I don't know if you see, but I take a pen and I go around all my dies when I take them, when I first get them. Because, can you imagine trying to figure out where all these go? I always have a hard time with that. So, I marker. I take a little pen and just kind of go around everything, and that way I know exactly where they go. Because if you lose one of your little leaves, you know, you might lose it and you might not realize it's gone. But now I know it's gone because I've got an empty space. Okay. I'm also using this background here. This is cut from the Contours, Color and Contours, Scalloped Contours dies. And it's a really great die set, and it's one of those that I go to constantly again and again and again. It's got several of these really cute scallop rectangles. So we're going to use that one. And then I'm going to use Petal Pink as my card base. And I'm going to use this really cute Petal Pink gingham. And this is from the Tea Boutique Designer Series paper. This is a 6x6 pack, and it has kind of some brights on one side, but then if you really look at the pack, there are a lot of patterns, but then there's a lot of really great just tone on tone monochromatic patterns, and I love those a lot. So I mean, and they're soft. So I've been using this paper quite a bit, and not for the tea. It's funny. Well, I did use the lemon one for Get Well, but anyway, I like this gingham, so I'm using that. Here's my sample card we're going to be making, and I'm going to change up the background because I cut, this is 6x6, so I cut this little bit off here, and then I have this little square left over. And this one I'm going to use, I try to use a lot of the paper and try to find good ways to use all of it, and I really wanted more of this gingham to show, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to cut this 4 by 5 1/4. I meant to do that ahead of time and I forgot. Okay, so I've got that. And then I'm going to grab some watercolor scraps. This is watercolor paper that I've used for other things, and I have these little leftover scraps. And here's my Petal Pink base piece. Okay, so now I'm going to grab our aqua painters, or water painters, I think they're calling them now. There we go. It's just a little brush that has water in the handle, and they come in a 3-pack. And I'm going to grab a few colors. My Crumb Cake, Petal Pink, let's see, Parakeet Party, going for brightness here, and Shaded Spruce. And let's do Mango Melody. Okay, so what I need is some pieces colored with some watercolor paper, because it really adds some fun interest to the design when it's on watercolor, and it just kind of adds to the back. I don't know if you can, so it just makes it look different. It's just a different look than just coloring it all a solid color. So I'm going to squeeze the barrel to bring some water down into the brush, and then I'm going to pick up some ink, and I'm just going to put it on here. And I don't necessarily want it to I don't want it to all be flat. I want it to have different tones. I need some is crumb cake ink. It's thick. Okay, so I want there to be darks and lights, so I want to kind of paint it, but I don't want a flat wash. I want it to be dark areas and light areas. I'll let that dry a little bit. I want to make sure it covers the whole dyed area. Ooh. Now, something that happens when you're watercoloring is if you're using, you've got it wet here, and if I were to add some more color right away, it'll just kind of fade out into the background there, and you wouldn't necessarily see the darks and lights. So I'm going to give it a second to dry just a touch, and then I'll add a little more color, and you'll see what I mean. So now let's do some petal pink. So I rinsed and washed my brush. I'm going to squeeze it again. This one doesn't have a lot of water left in it. And I'm going to color some petal pink. I just need enough to have all of the different flowers. So I'm going to put that aside for a second, let that dry. Now we need some green. I'm going to grab another one because this one's running out of water. I should have filled it before filming. Alright, this one's full. It's a tiny one though, so you get a 3-pack and there's 3 different sizes. Let me see if my medium's got water in it. Yep. Alright, that's the medium. Okay, so I'm going to squeeze the barrel, get some water going, wet my paper, and now I'm going to add that Parakeet Party. And then just a little bit of yellow for some centers. And I just have all kinds of dry pads going on today. Alright, so to get different tones and colors, I can do a few different things. I can splatter some water on here to kind of get some different looks in my paper. I don't want it to be flat brown like I mentioned, and then I can do the same thing over here with the petal pink, or I can take some petal pink and greens and splash it into my background here. You can do something like that, or you can just touch areas and get them darker. Now another thing we can do is once we cut things out, which is what I want to do on the green, is we can add a little bit of detail too. So now we're going to cut out all of our pieces. Okay, so now we have all these leaves and flowers and all these pieces. And we can decide if we want to add even more detail, and I do want to, especially on these leaves. So let's grab them. And of course you can cut out as many as you want. I just went with what they gave me here. I don't know if you noticed, but I had this little it's a magnet tray. I think I bought it at a hardware store, and I think it's for when you're working on something that requires a lot of screws or nails or something, and you don't want to lose them. It's like keep your screws or your bolts or whatever. I don't know. When you're working on something and you took all the screws out, you can put them in there so they don't roll away, and then you go to put it back together and you can't find your screws. Anyway, that's what that is. But super handy. I just keep it next to it, and you can just kind of toss the dies towards them. They just go right towards it. It's awesome. Anyway, so here I have my twig. And then if you wanted to, you can take your brush, clean it off a little bit, and then you can actually, add some more details. You can make some woody little stripes or a knot, or just little fun little areas of dark and light, just by adding a little more color on top. So we've got that one. And then our mango pieces here. I can add a little bit of darker color just here and there. Now this one I thought I would kind of accentuate those little veins in the flower, and just by touching it along there, the water kind of wants to pool into that little divot. And then for the leaves, I really wanted to add a lot of color, so I'm going with a deeper color. This is Shaded Spruce. And I'm going to go down that vein of the leaf. I want it more watery though. Okay, we've got all our pieces, so now we're going to put it together. So I'm going to add some color to our background piece here with a blending brush and some Pool Party ink. So I'm going to pick up some ink. And I like to kind of pounce off on the side first to kind of get some of that heavier ink off so you don't get a kind of an instant smoosh. And then I'm going to just kind of go in little circles and add some Pool Party to the background. Okay. Alright, now I want to start with that branch. So this has tiny pieces, and so I'm going to use my liquid glue here. Gonna lay it down, and then I like to plop a block on top of it for just a second there. Okay, just for a quick second, and then I'm going to just start applying my flowers. So I like to do the flowers, I'm going to do with a glue dot because I can kind of reposition them a little bit as I go. And so let's see. I like to start with the biggest one. I think I'm going to put him up top. Now if you want, this branch is kind of small, that's okay. You don't have to have the flower touch the branch. It doesn't have to literally be on the branch because you're going to fill it in with things like leaves and stuff like that, so no one's going to know that your flower is floating. And that way you can make your branch be as full as you want. Okay, now if you wanted to add more flowers you can. I'm going to fill in with the leaves. These I am going to glue down because now that I've got my flowers in place, and I like the glue dots because I can kind of pick them up. But now that I've got them, I'm not going to worry about it. Now these I can tuck underneath. So I'm using that liquid glue again. And I'm going to tuck them around. And that's going to add some nice fullness to our little scene here. Okay, so I've got that, and then all that's left are these little centers. So I'm going to kind of fluff them up a little bit. All right, there's my cute little apple blossoms. Now I'm going to make my sentiment and then put the card together. Now you can imagine coloring those for fall too. You can have some really pretty fall leaves. Now we've got the greatest gift is a good friend, but I also like this hope you're feeling better. So I think I will use that one this time. I hope you're feeling better, which is a little shorter than the die. That's okay, as long as it's not longer. And I like to stamp first when I'm doing these labels because it's so much easier to get them straight. Okay. If I stamp first, then I can line this and I can get it right in the middle. Tilt it or not tilt it, I can do that. So I will cut that out. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to bring it over in front of the camera again because it's just more moving. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm going to do it in front of the camera because I've decided I'm going to make it shorter. Have you tried that? I'm being adventurous today. I could just mess it up for the camera, but that's what editing is for. So I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to take this die, I'm going to put it here, right at the edge of the word. Okay, now I want to make it shorter, so see how it's really long? Could just cut that and have it be a straight end, but I want to make that pretty end, so I'm going to move this over, take it down. Now you can kind of look at the back and see if you're lined up inside that cut groove, that cutting edge. And I am, oops. Now here, we don't have to cut through the whole thing. We just need to go up to where that cut is. So I'm only going to go just until I know it's cut off that end, right there, and then back it out. You could do the whole thing, but what if you were off? What if you were slightly off? then you have an opportunity to maybe mess up that end. So if you don't have to, don't do it. So I only did partial, like that. And see, I made it shorter. Could have made it just a tiny bit shorter. Okay. Now to put it together, I'm just going to layer it all down there. And some dimensionals. And one little glue dot for my bow. So I hope you enjoyed the video and might try some watercolor die cuts. They're so much fun, and you can do them with any of the shapes you have. Okay, there you go. What do you like better, the gingham across the whole back or the gingham on the edge there? I think I like the whole back. I don't know. They're both cute. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like this little tip. And we'll try some watercolor die cuts. And take a look at that Perfect Pairs promotion. I'll add the link in the video description. Thanks for watching. Bye!